The current climate of marijuana and the legalization in New York is a topic that's at the top of the agenda. After Governor Cuomo's speech, State of the State, many were inclined to voice their opinion due to mass confusion and uncertainty about Cuomo's plans to legalize marijuana in New York. In order to gain a better understanding, we will be looking into the pros and cons of this bill, with specific regards as to how this bill will affect those incarcerated, previously convicted, and minorities in their communities if passed. This chart, taken from the New York State Department arrest records, shows the arrest rates for marijuana possession in the fourth quarter of 2018. There were 520 arrests, with 291 being black and 182 being Hispanic, the highest numbers. 488 were men, 32 were women, and the largest age group was between the ages of 25 and 34. This chart shows marijuana arrests per 100,000 people in Washington, D.C. by charge and race between 2010 and 2016. The majority of those arrested for possession were black from the years 2010 to 2014, as well as possession with intent to distribute. In 2014, recreational marijuana was legalized, and in 2015, there was a decrease in arrests among all groups, but black people were still arrested for distribution and public consumption. We asked a few PACE students how they felt about the legalization of marijuana, and here's what they had to say.
Okay. What kind of information would you want to know about marijuana before it becomes legalized?
I would like to see what laws are going to be implemented, with like driving and where you're going to be allowed to use marijuana, because I don't like the fact that, let's say we're walking down the street and you walk past someone and then they can just be smoking a joint. Like, that's just not right. So I want to see like what laws and restrictions are going to be implemented with the legalization.
So in regards to the legalization of recreational marijuana, I definitely am in full support of it. I think that it's something that scientifically hasn't been proven to like cause bad health concerns or bad health outcomes. I think that there are things worse out there on the market that are heavily promoted, such as cigarettes and alcohol, where students and other people have had alcohol poisoning, addiction problems that are advertised on the markets and are legal, rather than marijuana, where almost I don't think not one death on record has been recorded. So I definitely support it.
Recreational marijuana because it helps in many different ways. It can help people with anxiety, depression, different things like that. I feel like marijuana is, I don't smoke, but I think it will help people who go through like stress or like injuries, different things like that. Like, I know my mom had cancer and it helped her get through like some of her surgery and her procedures and things like that, breast cancer. So that's why I think it's beneficial.
I think it's a good idea that could prosper, and I guess want to make other states to legalize it as well, not just from like a personal psychological aspect, but just like a business standpoint. Because I think it could honestly bring in a lot of revenue for the state, sales tax, growing tax. I don't think that's about it. I can think of, honestly.
I do think that if marijuana is legalized, inmates should have their records expunged, because it's no longer a crime, so there should no longer be a record to hold them back from entering society again and getting jobs. And under like the ex post facto law, if I'm wrong, I don't know if I'm wrong, but when the laws change and it's to your benefit, you can get that benefit. So I feel like inmates should receive a clean record so that they can go back into society with as best opportunity to succeed as possible.
Psychologist Dr. Crystal Belisario, who works for the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, chimed into the discussion in reference to why young minorities tend to use marijuana and why they're the ones being targeted by police. Throughout the various agencies I work for, a lot of young minority teens function off of getting high. Without it, they feel as though they cannot go through the day. It has a lot to do with their environment, and for most of the teens, they come from a rough upbringing, so any drug they can get their hands on to escape from their reality, they'll do. Peter Carice, who works at the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Community Center in New York, says, "We can provide substance use treatment services to help them fulfill mandates of their probation and also help them address other challenges which may be related to their substance use, such as issues with housing stability, economic stability, and access to work or educational opportunities." Giovanna Del Valle, a drug and substance abuse counselor at Rikers Island, says, "When inmates leave and are on parole and have to follow whatever parole tells them, curfews, restrictions on working, school, and sometimes even where they live, all of which makes it difficult for them to function, and due to frustration, often return to drugs, criminal activity, and eventually jail."